begin, so I'd ask everybody to please find seats. Our services are going to begin for Mrs. Larisa Blinderman. I would ask if you have a cellular phone to please turn it to the off position. Officiating our service today will be Rabbi Eliezer Demarsky.
מזמור לדוד אדוני רואי לא יקסור בנוס דשא ירביצני על מי מנוחוס ינחלני נפשי שובב ינחני במעגלי צדק למען שמו גם כלב בגיא צלמה וסלר הרע קטע עמדי שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני טרח לפני שלך נגד צררי דשנת בשמן ראשי כוס רוויה אך טוב החסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי ושבתי בבייס אדוני לאורך ימים. I'll speak in English today. It's not simple, I'm sure, for everyone to put the feelings and thoughts into words. Words about Larisa, Laura, and thinking about her, thinking about what we talked about yesterday. When a person passes away, it seems like there are two big losses. One is the loss of a person herself, who person was, her character traits, her dreams, achievements. And there's also a loss for people around her. It's loss to a family. First of all, family, and of course, friends. And talking about the second one, maybe starting with the second one, only yesterday I understood this message. The Talmud says, in Hebrew it sounds, Ein isha meisa ela al baila, which translates that the most who is affected by the death of a woman is her husband. And I always wondered, it's a very bold statement, because the different situations, the different marriages, different, what about kids, parents, sometimes siblings. But you probably understand me, when I met Alex yesterday, I really understand the wisdom of these words, because when Torah says that at some point a person leaves his mother and his father and clings to a wife and they become one unit. It only says this about a wife. It doesn't say that your children is one unit or your siblings is one unit. You're connected, but on a very different level. With your spouse, you're really supposed to connect and be one unit. And therefore, when a spouse passes away, it's like you pass away. Something in you dies, which you cannot say the same about other relationships. They're painful, but not, Torah says, testifies they're not the same. And I really understood this talking to Alex yesterday, because it's half of him died. And that's what we also mourn. And learning about it's half since Laura was 18. You can calculate how many years. And Alex was 21. It's entire life together. And what a life, a good life, happy life, interesting life, life of growth together. Like their marriage is like really was one unit. They thought similarly, and the ideas were similar. We're talking about from the very beginning. They got married in the former Soviet Union. And I always ask family who moved here, I say, who initiated? And sometimes he initiated, she initiated. Here, like he says, we looked at each other and we both knew that we have to come here. Like everything was together. Everything in their life was together, despite that they're very different people. They're very different people, which also shows us that to be together, you don't have to be similar. You have to together be same, but like a puzzle, right? They're not similar pieces, but together is a picture. Together is the same. And Alex and Laura are very different, but they complemented, and as he said yesterday, balanced each other. In a literal way, balance. When one is up, I would say one is down, another one is up, and vice versa. That's how they balanced, that always they were in tune. And everything they did, accomplished, raised children, grandchildren, it's everything together. And that's what the meaning is, that the wife dies mostly on her or for her husband. And of course, the rest of people who surrounded Laura, Boris and Polina and Boris, and as Alex told me, I have children and I have children-in-law, right? Scott and Maria. Its effect was on everybody. Effect was on, and you will hear today probably, everyone has their own experience, but the similar would be that really affect, the profound effect of loss, because Laura was able to touch even people she came in contact very recently, like Maria. Right away, the impression forever, for entire life, her energy. And now we're talking about the second part already, who she was. And it's she was an amazing woman, just point blank. She was an amazing woman who never stopped dreaming, and nothing could stop her. This disease stops everybody, but nothing could stop her. She lived more than any doctor predicted. She refused to give up. She always was looking forward. She was very talented in many, many things. Her singing, her learning. She was very smart and very wise. She was a real businesswoman. She always was creating something, achieving something. The company she worked, Oracle, right? They called her Oracle Queen. She was the only woman in that group. And she was only 37 when Laura found out about her disease. And of course, you know how they say the different stages of grief, like denial and this and angry. And I'm sure she passed all this, but in the end, she decided not to give up, and she will continue living to the point that many people never suspected that she was ill. She would never show the way she dressed and danced and traveled all over. And those parades we're talking about, or the Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, I forgot. It's like she lived such an active life that nobody would ever suspected that she was not well. And that's how she wanted. That's how she wanted. To the point, her children, which were adult, Polina and Boris, they knew, but it wasn't felt. It wasn't felt because she would never show even a little slightest thing, something falls, something this. She would always independent and refused the help and did not want to show and did not want anybody to feel that there's something missing in relationships, whether children or grandchildren or anyone around her. And when she heard about her news when she was 37, she kept working. She continued working until she was 42, I think. And then, even then, When she retired from her job, she never retired from working. She kept working and living because that's what for her was a moving force. She needed to do something. She created albums, photo albums, because she found whatever she is capable to do, that's what she was doing. And if she could not do this anymore, there are other things she could do. And she defied the this typical attitude of many people have. I'm sick, so I'm supposed to not being able to do this, because that's what people, by statistics, that's what they do. She didn't care. She was living constantly. They say about, do you buy green bananas? Right? Some people are afraid to buy green bananas because maybe I will not be here tomorrow when they're yellow. She didn't have this. She bought green bananas all the time. In a figurative way. She kept dreaming and having ambitions, and for herself and for her children, and she was very proud of them. And for Boris, her brother, she was much older and in many ways like a mother and like a role model, I know. And for anyone, you see her, she emitted such energy, such love of life, that now it's a shock. Also, she passed away very quickly, even though we all knew she was ill, and we all knew that it might happen and will happen one day. Nobody knew when, but unfortunately, it went so fast that the shock on the family, and I'm sure many people here who probably said, "What? She was sick? We didn't know." That's what we are here now. We mourn this amazing potential that unfortunately was not completely fulfilled. And we also mourn someone who had such an effect on us and everyone here in the room. Such example of a person. The person is a product of a choice. We are a product of a choice. And if you if you refuse to be a victim, if you refuse to be a patient, and it's your choice. And she showed that how much person is capable to do. If you have a choice, if you have a goal, if you have people who to live for, and she did. Alex, I have to say, was by her side so many years and never stopped. Always together, helping and inspiring and doing things together. And Paulina and Boris and Shayla, Elijah. Hi, guys. That's her family. Scott and Maria. That's her safety net. That's who, they say, family, it's they stay with you. Well, people come, go, sometimes friends come, families stays with you always, and that's what, you were for her, the safety net. And it's very painful. It's very painful and very sad to see her go, young lady who was struck by such a disease and who defied all the odds and lived longer than anyone, I think, lived under such circumstances. And live, when I say live in a full term, not just she survived or she existed, she lived fullest. She knew how to live, how to celebrate. She moved downtown for a reason. She loved the life of downtown, the concerts, of constant hustling. That's who she was. And that's what we're missing now, and that's what we lost. Alex asked to say a few words, and I know it's very hard, but if you would like to, please, I invite you to say a few words.
I'll do it in English and then in Russian, just in case, for some people who need it. Larisa, Laura, my Ketska. That's how I called her. Ketska from the beginning. The nicknames for everybody. I did for Larisa right away. It's hard to talk about losing you and impossible to believe. We met many years ago. The girl was not just incredibly attractive, but also fascinating with her directness and cheerfulness, kindness and intelligence, quickness of thought and positive energy. We walk through life together, supporting and inspiring each other. It was an absolutely exciting journey with all the accompanying joys and sorrows. Our love certainly illuminated our path. My wife, my girl, my goddess. Larisa was surely the driver in our journey. She inspired, guided, supported. She never needed help. Yes, I didn't make a mistake. Having been sick for so long with a terrible, cruel disease, she refused to be in need of help. When the inevitable moments came and she needed help, she always insisted and got me to help her unnoticed and behind the scenes. She powerfully refused to acknowledge her illness no matter what. She kept her on very top and helped us to live a full and exciting life. She fascinated me with her willpower and love of life. I often simply could not take my eyes off her. Just like that long time ago, for the first time. But suddenly, she's gone. Shock, despair, rage, pain, emptiness, fear. How can I even survive this? I don't know. I know that our love for each other is with us. I know that our wonderful children and grandchildren are with us. I know that our great family and dear friends are with us. Yes, with us. Larisa and I have simply never been apart. And I don't feel anything different no matter what. Maybe this will help to survive and continue. I hope. My Larisa, I really, really hope that somewhere out there it will be much easier for you than here, without any pain and struggle. And I just can not, and I will not say goodbye to you, my only Ketska. Thank you. In Russian. Larisa, Lara, my Ketska. Трудно говорить о потере тебя, невозможно в это поверить. Наше знакомство много лет тому назад. Девочка не просто страшно привлекательная, а завораживающая прямотой и жизнерадостностью, добротой и интеллектом, быстротой мыслей и энергией, Мы вместе шли по жизни, поддерживая и вдохновляя друг друга. Это было абсолютно захватывающее путешествие со всеми сопутствующими радостями и печалями. Наша любовь, безусловно, освещала наш путь. Моя жена, моя девочка, моя богиня. Лариса, конечно, точно была водителем в нашем путешествии. Она вдохновляла, направляла, поддерживала. Она никогда не нуждалась в помощи. Да-да, я не оговорился. Будучи больной, так долго чудовищно жестокой болезнью, она отказывалась быть нуждающейся в помощи. Когда неизбежно наступали моменты, что помощь ей была нужна, она всегда настаивала и добивалась от меня, чтобы я ей помогал незаметно и негласно. Она мощно отказывалась признавать свою болезнь, несмотря ни на что. Это держало ее на самой высоте, помогало нам жить полной и увлекательной жизнью. Своей душевной волей и жизнелюбием она меня завораживала. Я часто... Я часто просто не мог отвести от нее глаза. Ну, как тогда, давным-давно, в первый раз. Но ее вдруг внезапно не стало. Шок, отчаяние, ярость, боль, пустота, страх. Как можно вообще это пережить, я не знаю. Я знаю, что наша любовь друг к другу с нами. Я знаю, что наши чудесные дети и внуки с нами. Я знаю, что наши замечательные, родные, дорогие друзья с нами. Да-да, с нами. Мы с Ларисой просто никогда не были порознь. Я не чувствую ничего другого, несмотря ни на что. Может быть, это поможет нам спастись и продолжить жизнь, я надеюсь. Моя Лариса, я очень-очень надеюсь, что где-то там тебе будет легче, чем здесь. Я не могу и не скажу прощай. До свидания. Только моя Кетска. Спасибо.
Who would like to be next?
Mom was my hero. Not only did she cook for me, clean for me, and love me, but she inspired me. If you didn't know, my mom was in charge of a group of men as an independent consultant, database administrator for Oracle. I even went to computer camp for a couple of years, striving to be just like my mom. My heart broke when she retired due to her disease, and my desire to follow her footsteps slowly faded. As some of you know, I struggled with addiction for years and had many dark moments where I couldn't find a single reason to continue living. I would go without talking to my family for a long time, and they didn't know if I was alive or not. My mom, being the hero she was, she busted down doors to get to me, to save me, her baby, one and only son. To her, I could do no wrong, and I was simply misunderstood. This unconditional love contributed to my decision to find help, and in May, I'll have 9 years of sobriety. I went from negative account balance to becoming a management consultant, closely following my hero's footsteps. However, Even with all my sobriety, I still fell into dark moments where I struggled to understand life's purpose. In the last 2 weeks, I watched my hero go from mild hallucinations and trouble balancing to terrifying delirium and inability to speak, with a very grim outlook by every doctor. They said it's likely she'll never recover enough to live a quality life. This made me think very deep and hard to qualify what would be enough for my mom to live a life worth living. Maybe if she can get back to the same condition she was prior to the hospital. If that's not possible, then just getting her out of the hospital 24/7 care. But after the third time she was put on the ventilator, I thought to myself it'd be nice if she could just feel the warmth of the sun one more time. Just as my hero busted down doors to fight for me, our family stepped in and held our faith and fought the hardest battle we've ever had to fight for the heart of our family, our mom. Even though we didn't get the outcome we so desperately hoped for, through trying to save my mama, she taught me 1,000,001 reasons why life's worth living.
Who would be next? Who would like to be next?
We weren't ready to say goodbye. We weren't ready to let you leave. We would give anything for one more day, one more second, one more song. Thanks for showing me the love is unconditional. Thanks for teaching us that every obstacle in life is just an invitation to show how strong we are. Thank you for your vibrant energy. Thank you for your bright smile that would light up any room you went into. Thank you for your hospitality and for always making me and everybody else in this room feel so welcome. Thank you for showing us how much you love us through your amazing meals, your amazing albums that will allow us to relive every single moment you and your friends spent. Also, Dad and the kids. So many amazing memories for all the moments you live in. Thanks for giving life to them. One profound thing about death is that love never dies. Some bonds can just not be broken. And even though you're not physically here, your heart will always live in the heart of all the ones who love you. You will live every single day through your children and grandchildren. You live in Paulina's and Boris' determination and motivation for life. You live in Shiloh's eyes, in Elijah's curiosity and creativity. And even though you're not here with us, the way you warm our hearts will never be something we could forget. The way you welcome every single member of your family and friends, and the way you make me feel at home every time I was around you are some things I'll never forget. Thank you for all the memories. I'll always be honoring you and remembering you and talking about the amazing person you are. Thanks for giving me my Boris. Thanks for giving life more than twice. You'll be forever in our minds and forever in our hearts.
Scott, would you like to? Oh, Paulina, are you playing? Are you playing? Boris, would you? One second.
So I'm here representing the Garnet crew. I know we took away the last name of Blinderman from you, Dad, so sorry. Our mother, Bubby, or Larisa, shine bright with radiance. Born as a Jew growing up in Moscow in the 60s, a place filled with anti-Semitism and Soviet-era toughness, she found solace in a world of books. As a child, she found herself connected to Katayev, Zoshchenko, and Uspensky, our favorite crocodile Giena. Living through those fantasies and seemingly ambivalent to the world around her, she was creative and thoughtful, developing a resilience and a shell to protect herself from the outside world, while growing ever brighter. For her, she knew life as being under pressure, thriving and growing ever brighter. Certain gases, when heated to high temperatures, fall apart, but under the right conditions, superheated gas, hydrogen can forge fusion reactions, the same conditions as our sun. Mom was our sun, and she was a shining star. And a star she was. She was resilient and strong. She was determined and focused and soaked up knowledge where she could. As she grew into adulthood, she developed a sense of free-spiritedness, something I really appreciated myself, actually, in a rule-following Blinderman family. That free spirit, who also got the boys' attention with her good looks, attracted a scrawny young man from Kishinev. Some might say Dad cut above his weight in catching her interest, although this is not giving full credit to her given his actual weight at the time. Together they began their lives for the next 42 years, spending time with their core group of friends from MIT, Moscow. We have Boris and Maya here. Like Fred and Ginger, Loris and Sash were one of a kind, the subdued woman with the smarts and the ever-talkative man, as she would remark, "Shut up, Sash." Nobody wants to hear that. Taking on the world, with Paulina and Boris on the way, Larash, as I'll call them, got the courage to leave for the Soviet Union and immigrate to the United States, paving the way for parents, aunts, uncles, and cousins to follow suit. They had the courage to do what others would not, to sacrifice for their children. Stars thrive in fiery chaos, and Mom, a star in her own right, made it work for the family. It just had to. When they arrived in Rochester, New York, she continued to support her children and family, putting her career on pause for the betterment of the family. She sacrificed for her family. She was a beautiful soul. And a short while later, they found themselves in the Chicago area where she got her career back on track at Discover Card. It's an understatement to say that she was brilliant. A database programmer with an uncanny ability to make the whiz-bang happen. And at home, she made the whiz-bang, pushing her children to be their best selves, pushing Paulina to rhythmic gymnastics and dance, and Boris into tennis, and nothing less than being amazingly talented at their respective sports would suffice. That's what she had. She had that same expectation for herself. Stars don't raise black holes. She loved them in her own way, expressing love through her creative videos and photo albums. Such a talented woman expressed her love of her family in so many amazing ways. And through the years, and through the lemon drop martinis, abonatomy spa treatments, dozens of face masks later, that's where I, myself, came to know Larisa, Laura, and then Mom. She was herself amongst the men, discussing business at a time when women were far and few between in the business world, not to say amongst the technology community. For me, she was the most familiar among the Zaretsky Blinderman crew. She reminded me of my own grandmother, someone with that tough, gritty resilience, that same old-fashioned Jewish values that I loved and were so dear to my heart. And she had the smarts to take over a room. This woman became a source of inspiration to me, and she became a friend. She became a mom. And you know, we knew each other for 10 years, and I just had so many special moments with her and the family. At first we got at a time when I was budding in my career, she became a source of wisdom and ideation and inspiration. And then as our family grew, I had the pleasure of taking our 2 kids over and just being able to talk to her while the kids played with Tiara or took a nap. And there was something really special and magical that happened in our conversations. And we just seemed to understand each other. And, the last year plus has been challenging, but I would go there and we'd continue our conversations through cleaning of light bulbs or dust or trying to remove shadows to maybe reduce some things that you would see. But that connection was still there, and those moments together were still there. There may be a black hole in our hearts today and tomorrow and the next day, but Mom is still a shining star in our neshama and souls. Thank you.
When I wrote my speech, I decided how I gonna and what I gonna speak about, but listening to the rabbi, I realized that it will make all sense in the world. I will be talking about amazing union of Larisa and Sasha and our friendship between Maya, me, and them. So Alex, Paulina, Boris, Scott, Maria, and family, our hearts bleed with this tremendous loss. As I sat down to write these words, I found myself overwhelmed and emotional, flooded with memories that bind us together in unbreakable bond. It feels like just yesterday that I first met Alex over 45 years ago. And when Larisa entered our lives a couple of years later, it was evident how blessed we were to have her and how much richer our life had become with her presence. On a cold February day, wedding automobile procession stopped by a rundown building with the Belishi sign, Russian meat pierogi, above the entrance. The best man in his best and only green suit and tie got out of the car and ran through the dirty snow to buy the pierogis at the bride's request. The best man was me, and it was Larisa and Sashka's wedding day. With her adventurous nature, Larisa wasn't concerned about staining her wedding dress or even something entirely different and worse from the food of unknown origin. When Maya joined us, sometimes later, we became an inseparable four, going through the life together. We went through life together, and through good and bad, highs and lows, we always knew that we could share happy occasions, lean on each other, cry on each other's shoulders to survive the sad ones, and always be there for each other. Over the years, our friendship blossomed, and our inseparable bond grew stronger and stronger, becoming not just friends, but a family, 2 sets of siblings, 2 brothers and 2 sisters. From shared vacations to milestone celebrations to birthdays, from love-filled weddings to joyous bar and bat mitzvahs to sorrowful events of losing loved ones. We have walked every step of the journey side by side, and Larisa always had an awesome presence in our inseparable lives of 4 people. Her wit, optimism, sweetness, and inner strength brought joy to everyone around her. Larisa and Maya were very close right from time they met. Here in America, they were young mothers and immigrants working hard to develop their careers. They shared their love of travel, cooking, and laughing. They used to cook together, and Larisa taught Maya to master her famous fried potato recipes. Being fashionistas, they both liked nice clothing and often shopped together. Our children, born into this bond, grew up as brothers and sisters too. While no one can compete with Larisa and Sasha's amazing travel itineraries, our families had so much fun traveling together to Aruba and New Hampshire, Jamaica and Martha's Vineyard, Italy, France, Israel, New York and Boston, and obviously West Hartford and Chicago. Thanks to Larisa and Sasha's magnetic personalities, which always draw people together, we were often joined by Marika, Zhanna, and other close friends. Our New Year tradition, held in our home, became a cherished annual event filled with laughter, games, and unforgettable skits, like when the Blindermans performed a rendition of Romeo and Juliet, with Paulina playing Romeo and Boris playing Juliet. Whenever we visited Chicago, Larisa and Sasha's home always became ours. They have always been such great hosts. With Larisa's exquisite cooking and warm hospitality, she welcomed us with open arms. Our home was always open to our dear friends, who stayed in their favorite basement, with Sashka insisting always on building a bathroom for them. We are so blessed that Larisa and Alex came to our home a couple of months ago to celebrate New Year's, not knowing that it would be the last one for Larisa and the last of our celebrations with her. The fruits of Larisa's artistic talents adorn our home, canvas prints in her favorite photos, and exquisite photo books capturing our shared experiences. And our shared YouTube channel holds a collection of homemade yet professional movies crafted by her. I also want to share a story that likely changed my family life. When Alex, Larisa, and the kids left Russia, we stayed behind, but later desperately tried to come to America for our daughter's Julie treatment. Right before our visit to Avir, you know, the famous organization that used to decide whether to let people emigrate or not, parcel arrived from Blindermans containing clothes for the kids and a block of Pall Mall cigarettes, last-minute edition by Larisa for my dad. Those cigarettes offered to the Ovir bureaucrat swiftly changed his mind, permitting us to leave. Over the years, Maya and I have always admired Larisa's strength, resilience, and strong will to live a normal life against all odds, against her terrible illness and pain. Despite her battle with illness, Larisa approached each day with grace and courage. Not once did she complain or let her struggle win over her spirit. Instead, we talked about the kids, travel, families, and friends. We joked and laughed a lot, and we loved each other very much. Larisa and Alex are a fantastic couple who have kept their spark since they met long ago. They travel all over the world, enjoy going out and meeting with friends, take care of children and grandchildren, and enjoy life to their fullest. Today our hearts ache with the void left behind, yet they are also filled with gratitude for the time we shared. Alex, Paulina, Boris, and Scott and Maria did everything possible and impossible during the past 2 weeks to create a miracle. But the force of nature tragically prevailed. With our dear Larisa passing, A gaping empty space will be at our tables. It will be a huge empty hole in our lives. But the inseparable four will live on. Larisa will live in sweet memories, our life stories, and our children and grandchildren. Her presence will guide us in what we do. And from the place with no pain and struggle, she will be our guardian angel, watching over all of us. And we will find comfort in the memories of our brilliant, courageous, smart, and sweet friend. Larisa, you will be dearly missed, but we will remember you for as long as we live.
Thank you. Is anyone else planning to speak? No? No? Please.
Wasn't really planning on it saying anything, but there are kind of two thoughts occurred to me as I've heard everybody describe just the sheer force of personality, the creativity, the talented woman that she was. So two things. One is kind of an anecdote from a few years ago, which to me revealed an element of her personality that is perhaps not as obvious. She brought her beloved cat, Mimi, over to my house. They were going on a trip, and they wanted me to watch the cat. And she was watching Mimi kind of explore the room and kind of stand up on her to pause and look into the cupboards and everything. And, you know, she loved the cat the way that most people love their pets. They're cute, they're comforting to sit with, that kind of thing. But what she said was really what she liked, what that she was fascinated by with Mimi was, you know, kind of what is the cat going to do next? That sort of curiosity, that fascination with the unknown. I think that's kind of a major element of her outlook on life. She was here to explore. She was here to sort of see what's out there. The other part is, just her era of, and her demeanor of calmness. The fact that she was always there, provide that support, that emotional stability. For me, who was effectively a generation removed from her, she was my link to the rest of my older family. When I'm trying to remember the name of that great aunt that, you know, I only interacted once or twice, she would be the person I go to and ask her, hey, what was Tiotia so-and-so? How do I remember her? These are not the kind of conversations I would have with my parents necessarily, because maybe by the time I sought that connection with my heritage, when I sort of wanted to know a little bit about my family that largely either passed away before I was really around or that stayed in Russia to some extent, my parents weren't really capable of providing that link, and Laura was there to do that for me. She was my source of comfort, to know that she is there, always in a non-demanding way, that she is just always will make time to provide that emotional help. She perhaps didn't perceive the same things as important or not important that other people might, but when it truly counted, she was there.
Thank you. In conclusion, I would like to say a final prayer, where the prayer is in Hebrew, but the meaning is we ask God to remember Larisa on this day, to remember all what she accomplished and achieved, and may her soul be granted the highest possible place, among the most righteous. And I would ask everybody to rise, and in the end of the prayer to answer Amen. Please rise. El male rachamim, shoichen bamrovomim. Hamtze menucha nechona al kanfei השכינה. במעלויס קדושים וטהורים, כי זוהר הרקיע מזהירים. אס נשמס לריסה בס משה שהלכה לעולמה. בעבור שמשפחתה תיתן לצדוקה בת אזכורס נשמסה. בגן עדן תהיה מנוחסה. לכן בעל הרחמים יסתיריה בססר כנפיו לעולמים. ויצרור בצרור החיים אס נשמסה, אדוני הוא נחלסה. ושנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר אמן. Thank you. Please take your seats.
Friends, our service here is concluded in the chapel. Procession will be forming in the parking lot. Interment will take place at Sunset Memorial Lawns immediately following the procession. To ensure that we have a safe travel to the cemetery, please put your bright headlights and blinkers on if you're going to be in the procession. You will also need a orange funeral safety sticker, which will go on the passenger side of your vehicle. Flags will be placed by my colleagues throughout the procession. As we go through intersections today, please stay as close as possible to the vehicle in front of you. We want to prevent any cars from coming in between the vehicles in our procession. Immediately following the interment, the family will be hosting at Zhivago Restaurant in Skokie until 6 p.m. Memorial contributions could be made to the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson Research. That information is available on your folders. For those many of you who are online, that information is available on our website. If I would be able to ask if anyone is able to, if you have room in your car, to gather one of the flowers and bring to the cemetery, it would be appreciated. At this time, I would request that everyone please rise. Those men who are available to act as pallbearers, please ask you to step forward.
Yeah, we need 6 men.
Thank you very, very much, pallbearers. Follow behind you until we get outside.